Hello. Good evening. How are you, boys and girls? On my side, I had some time to. I mean, sometime I'm not streaming because unfortunately I had to do some surgical operation. So I had to do something at the hospital. Nothing really, you know, too critical, but still something that I had to do. Now the operation went well, so everything is fine, and I'm still recovering a bit. The operation was last Thursday, and I'm basically fine. I mean, I'm nearly fully recovered, but still I have a bit. Let's say 90%, 90%, something like that. I'm pretty much okay. There is still some time needed to recover fully. So I really wanted to stream, but I was thinking to you guys, saying, "Oh, the people will say, where is this appeared?" And I was thinking about you, but I couldn't really stream before. I think tonight we can do good stuff. We can stream a bit. We can proceed. Let me just check. There are some errors in. Why? I need to advertise, you know, in the different YouTube error. Why the chat is not connecting? Okay, meanwhile I will adjust advertise the stream, okay? The stream is called 158, yes, and it's spells and magic. I think we can do a bit more on spells and magic today. I need to advertise on Facebook and other places. Give me a second while I'm setting up. Twitch, Twitch. There it is. So I'm posting stuff around Facebook, Twitter. Yeah, unfortunately I don't have a PR department, you know, so I have to do stuff myself. I don't have a public relation department. I would like to. We tried to have a public relation department for a very long time, but it never really worked. I don't know why. Okay, I'm posting this. I posted on our internal page. I posted on. Let me post on Unreal as well, where there is some space for streamers. I'm posting in our Plane Shift channel and also in our development channel. Why not? And in our supporters channel. Everywhere. Okay, give me just 1 second to finish the setup of this. I'm nearly done, by the way. Okay, so we posted, I think, on all the places I wanted to post. So I think we are good. We are getting some subscribers on YouTube, which is nice. I'm just having some errors in the chat system for YouTube. So it's telling me that. Hello, Jet. Hi. It's telling me that there is a problem. It's saying this channel is on hold. Go to your YouTube live dashboard. What do you mean is on hold? On hold? What the hell does it mean on hold? 158, yeah, streaming, blah blah blah. No idea. I think I will contact these guys. This channel is on hold. What does it mean? Streaming monitor URL. I have no idea. Okay, I just sent a support request. Let's see what they say. Click-through mode. What is click-through mode? Click-through mode. What is click-through mode? Click-through mode. I have no idea what is it. What is this click-through mode? In order to disable click-through mode on our chat, you can try these methods. I mean, what the hell? I don't know. Okay, so let's start, boys. I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready. So let's check where we left the last time. Okay. I have no idea where we left. It was some time ago. I don't remember. Do you remember what we were doing? What we were doing, boys? Do you remember what we were doing? I don't know. I would like to know. Do you know? Remember? Oh, that was my voice. It was so loud. It was so loud. Okay, let me switch the view so you can see what I see. By the way. Okay, now you should see what I see. Just checking the last video. The last video that we did 2 weeks ago or something like that was 127 spell casting. So what we did, I don't remember at all, boys. I think we started with spell casting, then we started to change. It's nice to see you guys here. I'm sorry I've not been very nice to see you guys. Chase, what we were doing, boys. Ah, yes, here I was just telling you the roll animation that we finished and all the stuff that we did. Okay, fine. Then I was checking if we could if the spell window was working. Yeah, we checked the spell window. We checked if the spell window was working, if I could actually cast the spell. Then we went, now I remember. Then we went to fix the /cast command because we wanted to have the handle command of cast properly working. Yes. Now I fully remember. So I'm watching my own video, but and then we added cast. We fixed all the admin commands. Yes. Do you remember? There was all the admin commands. They were not working properly, and all of that, which is nice. Let me see if these guys are answering or not. I didn't know. In chat app. Sorry, meanwhile I'm chatting with some. Okay, so yeah, this is what we did. Let me go forward. And then we entered user command. Yes. So we did this. We connected to the blueprint. You remember? So we were connecting to the blueprint. We were connecting all the commands, and we created a temporary node where all the commands were connected. And then we added all the commands here in the command line. Okay, very nice. Okay, I think this is good. I don't know if we arrived up to the point that it was actually working or not. Probably not. I think I arrived up to the point that I linked all the commands. Let me see where I'm going here. Yeah, we were speaking a bit about other stuff. Let me see what I'm pasting here. I think I've put here. Come on. No. We fixed all of those. Yes, I remember. We created a block. Okay, this is inside user manager. Okay, let's open up again user manager. So we restart from where we left. By the way, I can read the chat now. What is the chat saying? Hello, Soup. Hello, Abdin. Sorry, that is the chat of the previous stream. Crap. It's not the current stream. That's why I was saying, too many people speaking. Okay, so let's open up at least the Visual Studio, right? This was the previous stream. KPS Unreal. I think I can see the chat, but it's not fully working. So if you're typing something, I cannot see you. I mean, I can see, but I have to switch windows. Okay. It's opening up the He's opening up the project. Something looks like you're using it to change the rest. Are you using the new YouTube studio? What does it mean? I don't know. I'm using. Are you using the new YouTube? Yeah, I think I'm using the new one. Yes, the one with the black background. I think I'm using the new one, the one with black background. I only opened OBS, clicked on start streaming, usual, and then change the description of the stream. It says in your website, it says this channel is on hold. Go to your dashboard, YouTube live dashboard. I don't know why I'm saying that really. So we opened up this. We are exactly where we left. Nice. Okay, so we were doing this. We were adding all the commands, so all the handle advise, handle advisor, handle body. You see all of this, which were all the additional commands. Maybe we should rename, the previous stream, because the previous stream was actually more working on admin commands. Should we do it? Yes, I think we should do it. Because otherwise the previous stream name is a bit misleading to people. I mean, we started with spell and magic, but we actually ended up working on different commands. So you want me to do it now? I think I can do it now. It's a bit annoying. Let me change the name of the previous video to something that is more meaningful. Meanwhile, boys, tell me something about you. What did you do in the last few weeks? We didn't see each other, so what did you do? Okay, I have to change title and description. I will call it admin commands. Let's call it admin commands. Admin commands. I will call it admin commands, which I think is the most relevant. Did you change it? Okay, I saved it. Sorry, I'm on the other screen. I just wanted to rename. Okay, so we were here. We were doing this. And we added basically all the commands. Oh my god, this guy is saying so much stuff. To fix the YouTube chat, he's telling me to do schedule the event on the YouTube dashboard. Then go to the Restream dashboard and select the cog wheel. Then go into the Restream dashboard and select the cog wheel next to your YouTube event channel and select Edit Settings. You should receive a drop-down menu that will let you select the event you have created. Then when you are ready to go live, start streaming from your encodings. Oh my god, I just started the stream. I'm live now. I'm live now, boys! I'm trying to fix this, but it's not good. Hello, Maui. How are you? I don't want to stop the stream, so if it doesn't work, I would say I will leave it as it is. I will leave it as it is. I mean, I cannot stop the stream now. What do you mean the channel is on hold? I mean, I have to do all of that. I have to do all that procedure before streaming. That would be insane. Okay, so I think we will leave without the restream chat. That's okay. So these were all the commands that we did. Now, are there all or not? Did it compile, by the way? We can try to compile and see if it works. You can see if it works. So basically, these were all, you see that I added the dummy to be done. So this was just a dummy list of all the commands that we wanted to implement in User Manager. And then in User Manager, I created this new function called dummy to create, called dummy to be done. Yes, which is this command is not recognized, not ported yet. Perfect. So, and this is a message that is getting sent to the client. Okay, so this is successful. So I think we can test this. Okay. Okay, so let's test if it works, okay? Which I think is the most important part. I want to see. Did we test it the last time? I think we tested it. Did we test it? I can check my own video at the end. Did we do the test? Did we do the test? Here we were implementing all the stuff. Okay. Then we went in game. And I don't understand if it was working. You must face the enemy. I don't remember if it was working. We can retest it. I don't know. And then I ended the stream. So I ended the stream basically there. So when I was about to test, okay. So let me start the database first because we need to have the DB up and running. Then we need to have the client and the server running. Then also we need to check if there are any changes compared to the last time. Let me see if there is any check-in by anyone. Zway did some fixes on the art side, so I think it's not too bad. I think I can apply tints to an alternate mode, then in texture skeletal mesh to be integrated. Okay, it's fine. I think we are okay. Okay, I will do. Okay, seems that the chat is not working, so we will just leave without it for now. I will just read the chat from YouTube. You will have a lot of free time end of next week. Nice. I have free time in the weekend now. As I said previously at the beginning, maybe you were not here, but last week I went through a small, I don't know, but anyway, through a surgical operation. So I've been at the hospital for a few days, and because I had to do something there, I had to do an operation, and now I'm fine. I mean, everything is okay. I'm not 100% recovered yet, so I still have some small issues, but it should be fine. It should be fine. Operation went very well, and the recovery is quick. It looks like it's quick enough. So okay, so let's try our command. So we want to try one of the commands like cast. Okay. Nice. This command is recognized. Now maybe you cannot see it, but it says this command is recognized but not ported yet. Okay. So so our system works as expected. Okay, works as expected. Very nice, very nice. So what we did the last time is actually working okay. Is actually working okay. Now, what do we need to do? We have a bit of an issue here in the management of the spells, because when I go in combat mode, I lose my mouse. Okay, and we decided to have combat mode. We decided to have combat mode, and I think we want to keep combat mode. So you see my mouse. I don't know if you see it, but it's here. Okay, so with my mouse, I could, in theory, click on something and then click, for example, on summon missile and cast it. Okay. The problem is that when I'm in combat mode, I don't have my mouse. I press tab. You see, now I'm in combat mode. So now basically my mouse is moving the camera. By the way, it's so sensitive. I think I should lower it a bit, but it's moving my camera. And the left click and the right click are used for attack and block, right? You see? So so how do I cast spells at this point? That's a good question. So in theory I could use /cast by keyboard, but that's not a great idea. So the only way would be that I associate, keys to spells, or do you have a good solution for this, boys? Because obviously I can cast spells associating them to keys like 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so if I associate summon missile to the key 1 or 2 or 3, then I can just press it, or we can kind of right click. The problem is that right click, is usually block, is not spell casting. I could should I go out of combat mode to cast spells? I mean, that's possible. We can decide that you cannot cast spell while in combat mode. I mean, combat mode is only for melee or ranged, and then you want to cast a spell, you go out of combat mode, which is a bit awkward though. You go out of combat mode, you select the guy and you click on cast. I don't think I like that too much. I think it would be nicer to stay in combat mode and then to have like a right click that blocks, but the same will be for all the other spells and all the other moves. Imagine that we have a special attack maneuver, special attack, which is like, I don't know, blade dance or whatever. Let's say that is blade something. Okay, blade tornado. So how you will activate that? So you still need. I think there is no chance. I mean, we need to have I think like any game, we need to have our quick bar, somehow here at the bottom. I mean, you can put it whatever you want, but the point is that you need to have your quick bar here, and each of the spells are associated to a specific key, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then when you are in combat mode, you are like pressing a number 1 and casting the spell. So I think that's the only way. Now, the good thing of our spell, or the good or bad, I don't know, the nice thing about our spells is that we have the K factor, so we can funnel into the spell more energy, right? And to do that will be nice to have like a special widget that is popping up when you are, or maybe you can do it based on how long you press number 1. That would be nice. I think that would be nice. So if I'm moving and I press number 1, the more I press it, but do I have to stop? The problem is that do I have to stop moving to press 1, or does it sense the fact that I'm pressing 1? I think it's sensing the fact that I'm pressing 1. Do you like the idea of the longer you press the number, the more energy you put into it? And if you only press it once, it just put the default, amount of spell, the default mana. Yeah, I need something to cast the spell in combat mode. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that we can associate it to. So let's say that at the moment I have this list of commands, okay? And this list of commands. What the hell? Because the macro editor is always at the bottom. Okay, that's fine. So for example, here we are not associating a key, right? We are not associating a key to the command, but I think we should. I think it is the first thing we need to change. If we don't change this, it will never work. So because let's say that I do so let's say, so I think that is the plan. Let's create a mission. I think we have a mission in front of us. I think we have a mission, boys. I'm picturing into my mind pretty clearly. We have a mission. We have a mission to do. Now, let me see. Come on, just reading my E drive. The last one was NPC rotate. Okay, let's create a new one, which is called. I had this cast a spell. Let's call it cast a spell 2. Okay, which is cast spell in combat mode. Okay, so let's create a new one. So let me open my dear Paint program. One day I will change. I can use GIMP actually, but this one is so handy, it's much easier. So let's call it Unreal Mission Cast Spell in combat. Okay. So our mission. We need a good icon for it, but our mission is the following. So we need to enable. The first thing we need to do. We need to change the Quickbar to allow setting a key. We change the Quickbar to associate a key to a command. Okay, this one we have to do. If we don't have this, we are dead, right? If you press the key, the player needs to stop and start combat animation. What do you mean? I don't know what you mean by that. If you press the key, the player needs to stop and start combat animation. No, while you are moving, obviously you have only 5 fingers. So, if you have 2 or 3 fingers on the movement, you will have to use another finger. You have to stop for a second and press a spell. The other option would be to associate, one spell to the right click instead of the block. I think this we can do anyway. This could be an idea, So the right click could be cast the specific spell. This could be a setting or something, or an option that you set somewhere that changes the way you block, right? But anyway, we need to do this. We need to change the Quickbar to associate a key to a command, right? Then we need the slash chat. So enable, so not the slash cast. Enable the slash cast command, right, from console. Why? Because the commands are actually just calling console commands. So the Quickbar is just calling console commands. So we need that to be done. Then we will associate, for example, number 1 to summon missile. And at that point we need to so when the problem is the following. How does it know? Well, it can do it on slash cast. Yeah, I think we can recognize the slash cast command, okay, when pressing a key, right? In that case, what we should do, we should pop up a power window, a power widget, which is our K factor, what we call the K factor internally, but basically is the amount of mana that you are fueling into the spell. So we need to pop up a widget for the K factor, and the more you keep the key pressed, the more power you funnel, you put into the spell. You channel into the spell. I think channel is the right word. Into the spell. And then at the end we do then a cast with a specific, right? Because I think that the cast should have the K factor, right? I think cast today has a K factor in our game. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm pretty sure if I go to the old code, there is a K factor. So this will be pretty much, this would be pretty much okay. Now, guys, if you are confused with who I'm speaking with, we are streaming on Twitch and YouTube at the same time, and sometimes there is people speaking in Twitch chat or in YouTube chat, and I'm answering to them. Okay, so you may not see both of the chats. I think that is pretty much our mission. I don't know if we have any other points, but so change the Quickbar, enable the cast command, recognize now the other one that we may do, which may be kind of an optional one, which would be nice, would be to have a way to associate the right click to cast. The problem is that you can associate it only to one spell, which is pretty annoying. I mean, if you have like 5 or 6 spells, associating one to the right click will not help you much. So, or we have a kind of a small wheel popping up, with all the spells that you can cast. But it starts to be a bit too complex, I guess. Let's say, think about associating right click to cast spell, to cast one spell. I mean, this guy is 1, so that's the problem. So I don't know. This one I'm not fully sure. I don't know. I don't know what you think, but I think we are. Hmm. And then that's it. This will allow us to this will allow us to cast spells with a specific power at a specific target. Now, if I want to cast healing, if I want to cast healing on someone else or on myself, I should be able to target myself. What I see now in the game is that I'm not able to target myself. I don't know why. But if I click on myself, I mean, I can target weapon on the ground, right? You can target a weapon on the ground, but I cannot target myself for whatever reason. I think that selection is excluding self. Which is good on one side because it's allowing us more quickly to select, you know, the enemies, but it's a bit annoying because I have to cast a healing spell. I need to be able to select myself as well, so I think we need to re-enable the selection of self, right? Which I think is, by the way, what is happening, right? What is happening in the old game, right? You can select yourself for sure, correct? You can check, but I'm pretty sure you can select yourself. I mean, I'm sure we can. 100% sure we can. Why we excluded the selection of self? So re-enable, say re-enable, no, enable selection of self. Example to cast healing spell. Right? So this is what we need to do, boys. This is what we need to do. This is our mission. It is the old client, don't get confused. This is the old client made with Crystal Space, so with the previous engine. Made with a lot of love a long time ago. Yeah, I can click on myself. So is this annoying for selection of other characters? No, it's pretty good. I mean, if I click here, select the NPC. If I click here, select myself. So yeah, I need to be able to select myself anyway. Because unless we have another way to say that I'm healing myself, but I think is I introduced to myself. Can I attack myself? I can attack myself for some reason. That's very stupid. Okay, I think I'm fine. I think we need somehow to be able to to enable selection of self. Okay, in the new game. I see if you go very close to the character, it doesn't allow you to select it. It just take a bit of time. It's just not instant. Okay, anyway, I think it's fine. Okay, let's do this. Let's try to do this. Let's try to do this if we can. So change a Quickbar to associate a key to a command. Okay, this is the first thing we need to do. That is the first thing we need to do. Now, I need to open the editor for sure. I think I can stop this thing. At the moment in the UI, we don't even have the ability to do it. So we will need to add this ability because at the moment we don't have it. Now I was experimenting a bit with key press. Let's launch the editor. Because yeah, we need to associate it to a key. The problem is there can also be a combination of keys, you know. Is there something that we can take already done so we don't make it, we don't spend too much time on doing this? Because I think it is a problem that everyone has, you know. So it's like what is called keyboard settings. Is there a component maybe in the marketplace or somewhere where we already have a keyboard setting Unreal Engine? The problem is that if I search it like this, I will just I mean, I want an in-game keyboard setting, you know, or runtime. Maybe runtime maybe is runtime keyboard settings. This is very nice. The new blueprint support for runtime key bindings, control remapping, action mapping. A few months ago, Blueprint gained the ability to fully support Unreal user remappable controls. Nice. But almost everything I found on Google still predates and this suggests CRC plugin only way. I should go a quick review, blah blah blah. There are two types of control binding in Unreal: action mappings and axis mappings. Yes, that I know. You can view those in band, yes. Action axis mapping allows script and game control to be input agnostic. Example of scripting: when a player pushes the spacebar, make the character jump. Use script when the player input jump, make the character jump. Yeah, that is because you can basically remap space, you know, to jump, to the jump action. So the way you do it, you just go here in project settings, and under input you have you see these action mappings, and you can say that, for example, jump, you know, the action named jump becomes spacebar like we have here. And then in the code you don't have to say spacebar, you just say input action jump, and whatever you have associated you know, is associated, so which is very nice. So yeah, this is all fine. Design no. Direction mapping by name. Direction mapping by name. These are funny bindings in the script doesn't know about. Direction mapping by name. Make break action mapping. There is an example widget. There is an example widget that is triggered by the player remapping a key in the menu. It is exactly what we need, by the way. Thanks to this guy. What is this guy name? Rabbit All Avert, thank you so much. It is exactly what I needed. I mean, maybe I would figure it out myself, but having such well explanation on the forums is so nice. Below is an example. The player mapping a key in the menu. First define the script and unbinds the control mapped to the jump, and then it maps to the new player selected control in the jump action. Okay. So let me check what it's doing. Can we see it a bit bigger? Yes. So on key selected, okay, on key selected, remove all previous binds. Very nice. So it's getting the input settings, he's searching for the jump action, and is removing this. Now our problem is that I don't think we have a I have some question in my mind, but remove all previous binds. Okay, so it does this loop body and removing the action mapping when the out mapping, because there may be more than one, I guess. Okay, This is because in the menu, in theory, you could have enter, but I could also have another one. So I could go here and say I can say plus, and then there will be two keys that trigger jump. Okay, but it's not our case, so we will go one for one, I think, for now. So this is why it's a for each loop. Okay, so that's the reason. And then he removes the action mapping. Okay, then after he has done this, when it's completed, he's creating a new key binding. Very nice. So he's breaking this into an input chord and is making a new action name. Okay, it's pretty cool. With all the things. Okay. And he said, okay, that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. So this is exactly what we need. Now the point is, what about shift? And because here is it is using also shift, control, alt, and command. So all of these are actually properly mapped. Now I don't know if there's on key selected, you know. You can see the input selector after the input construction, blah 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 blah. Okay. Okay, here's what mine looks like for the player. A column for input key selector. In the option menu. One letter system. By default, the input key selector only accepts keyboard input. If you want to let the player bind mouse buttons, now I think for us, input key for now is okay. But input key selector is a control. Now I understand, boys. It's a widget object. Yeah, you have to save this stuff. You have somehow to save this stuff to the disk. Yeah, I mean to the save game. You know, to the configuration. You also want to update all the input key selector buttons in the widget so that they display the new binds that were just loaded. Okay. Set the selected key not accept input code. Okay, that's very understandable to me. This guy says thanks. I'm struggling a bit to the remapping of the access. Okay, because this guy wants to do something very different. You want to save your change mapping directly to config without writing in the same save function. Is very easily done. Yeah. I think we can have this save save key mappings. Okay, that's very nice. That's also a very nice piece. Okay. I think we can use this. Yeah, this guy, it's good that this guy posted this, because otherwise I think we will reach it anyway, but it would take us a lot more time, you know, to actually reach the same level of understanding. So what I understand is that we have a key mapping. Now the question is, where will the player set up? Well, the player will set up simply those keys in the Quickbar, right? So I think we have in our game we have a UI, main menu, widget, no, not main menu, game, widget. I think we have a window, I assume, which is our shortcut window, which is this one, which is actually a container of other buttons and is dynamic because based on the button. Yeah, exactly. Now there is the macro editor, which is a bit annoying. It's always appearing at the bottom, but it's fine. So we need to add inside of this. We need to add inside of this the key bindings. Now, you know what? Just to avoid losing time, I think in these cases the best way is to develop this functionality in a new fresh project, so we can test everything from the editor without having to start the game, you know, and launching the game and whatever. So it will be much easier to just do it inside a sample project. And I think that a sample project for us could be, I think we have a third person. Yeah, for example, the one where I test the role, I think that's perfectly fine. I think we can launch this project and we can do it here. By the way, I don't know if you have seen, but 4.24 came out. I don't know if you have if you want to read together. I didn't read yet the release notes, but maybe you see, 4.24 is out. Now we may read it together later on. I don't know. Not now, maybe, but we should do that as well. It will be interesting to know what's new. Okay, this is just a sample project. Perfectly fine. We actually don't have a menu, but what we can say, we can add a menu. Do we have a menu here? No, we don't. Also, we are always in first person mode. But I can press a key. I can put a, you know, I can have a key, I don't know, like L or K or something, which is do I have already a key set up? I think I had L somehow. It was doing something on the NPC. For sure I had my role going on. Yeah, this was the project where I was testing that. Okay, let's use this project. It's perfectly fine. So let's associate one key to our pop-up menu, and then I will need a new widget. So I think I can do it. Starter content mannequin. Let's just have a UI. Let's just create a new folder which is called UI. I think is the easiest. UI. Okay. So inside of this, we create a new widget. So blueprint, user interface widget. Right. In this one, we will call it keyboard setup. Okay. So this will be our keyboard setup widget. Just an example, and then we will move it to our real game. Okay, but this is just an example. It's just to see how it works. Okay, so here we have our keyboard mappings, and now the problem is that it will be, yeah, in our case will be one for each of the shortcuts. So I think we'll be fine. We will have only one, right? Yeah, we will have only one. So what I understand is there is a key input selector. It is so nice. You have no idea how nice this is. Just to get it for free, you know, to get a control, that is exactly what we need. Okay, input key selector. So this thing, very nice. So let's put it here for now and see what happens. Then in our project, and we can do it directly in the level blueprint, I guess, or in our, yeah, the level blueprint is perfectly fine. I can do it here, who cares? So when I press, let's say M, when I press the N key, or the K key, let's use K, so K for keyboard. So when I press the K key, what I want to do, I want to create a widget, right? And this widget will be our widget we just created, which is our keyboard setup widget. And yes, we created for the current player controller. I don't know if it is taking. No, I think I need to do get player controller here. I I think I need to do it with player controller, otherwise it won't work. And we need to create this widget, and then we need to just add it to the viewport, right? And then yes, we will also need a way to remove it, by the way. We can have a small X at the top, which is closing the widget, but who cares? Well, let's do it. Let's do it just. Let's just do a small. Yeah. This one will be called save, right? And this will be our save button. Don't remember, do I need to add a text as a child? Yes, I think I need to add text as a child. Okay. Our save at the moment, we do nothing else than just close the window, but it's okay. Okay. So this one, when it's clicked, unclicked, we'll just remove the current widget. Right? Remove widget. Remove from parent. Okay, so we'll just remove this current widget from the parent. So that's done. Right. So it'll be a very simple widget which will pop up, and when I press the key button. Okay, let's see what happens. So I press the key button. This widget, okay, it has no background. I need to enable the mouse movement. I need to enable mouse. What was this called? Mouse and UI. No, it's called something like enable mouse mode. What the hell was called? I think it was UI something, but I don't remember the name. Was set input mode. It was something like that. Input mode. Here it is. Set input mode game and UI. Set input mode game only. Okay, I think it's this one. Set input mode game and UI, so that it allows you to use the mouse and click on stuff. Widget to focus. Yes, this one we can do it at the end actually. And the widget to focus will be. What happened? I see there is something. This will be the widget to focus in. Okay. And if I press key, it doesn't work at all. Why? Set an input mode allows only the UI to respond to user input, and if the UI doesn't handle it, player input will not get a chance. I think this was the way, but for some reason it's not giving me control of the it's not showing the mouse cursor, and it's not. Let me say show mouse cursor to true. No, player controller. Okay. Let me see. Okay, now it shows the mouse. I can click on stuff. Okay, nice. Okay, this is what I wanted. Okay, it's not perfect because it's actually still moving the character, but it's okay. Okay, so this is working. Now, when we click, so how does it work? I don't understand exactly. Can you make it a bit bigger so we can see what is... So when I press key, I go here, I click on this. The first click is doing nothing, is allowing me to press a button. Like if I press 1, no? No? Don't understand how this works. Ah, now it took it. Like Shift S, it worked. It printed Shift S. I think that all the other controls that are already managed by... Like if I click here and I press jump, spacebar. No, this one is taking it. So when I'm in this mode, so why the number 1 was not working then? And now it's working. Okay. Okay, why was not working before? I click here one time, I press 1. If I do Alt Control Shift 2, it just says 2. If I do Shift Control 2, it just says 2. If I do Shift 2, wait, Shift 2 works, Control 2 works. So the combination do not work. So if I do Control Shift something, it's not working. Alt Shift 2, no, it only says 2. Why? Left Shift, right Shift, Caps Lock, Tab. Okay, all the rest will kind of work. So I think it's fine. For our F2, the functions are working. I think all the shift are okay. Okay, but anyway, it does what we need it to do. Okay, it's pretty much working. So I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Tell the truth, I think it's fine. Now I think there are some additional, settings you can have on this guy. Let me see what kind of options we have. So allow modified key, which means input code represent the selected key, false modifiers are ignored. So I think the modifiers means shift, control and alt, something like that. Allow gamepad keys, when true gamepad keys are allowed to input code representing the selected device. Okay. Escape keys, what does it mean escape keys? When true, gamepad keys are allowed in the input code representing the selecting key, otherwise they are ignored. What? This is a wrong copy-paste, by the way, I think. These two lines have exactly the same description, but I think it's a wrong description. Because allow gamepad key and escape key seems to have the same description. Gamepad special right. What is this thing? Escape keys. Behavior. All this is the same stuff. So the only special attributes are the one here in the middle. All the others are just. And then I can bind on key selected. On is selecting key changed. Okay, but I think this one I don't care too much. I just need to read the value then. So when I save, let me see. When I save, it would be nice to print out something just to see if we got the key, right? So okay, we remove this, but we also print out. I want to print out something just to see if we got the right key. How do I get How do I get a reference to this guy? So I get this, and this one, what is it? I should break it, I guess. No, I cannot break it. I can. No, first of all, I need to get the key. So let's go context sensitive. I think I need to get key, set keyboard fonts. So let me just go back to the example. Selected key, on key selected. No, I want to do it. I want to do it after. I don't want to do it when it clicks. I want to do it after in this case. So how do I get selected? There is a get selected key. Perfect. Get selected key. Now this is the one that we can break, right? Yes, this is the one that we can break. Okay, nice. Nice. We can break it, and we can say the problem is that it's splitting all these things. Can I just print it out? No. How does he print it though? Selected key. Input key selector. Get selected key. Key selection. Get selected key. Key selection. So key selection, we have get escape key, allow modified key, and we have but we also have get key selection text. This is exactly what we needed, boys. So I don't need to break it or anything. I think I can just go like this. Okay, let me just see if I can print it out. I just wanted to be sure that it is printing out, you know. So if I do key and then I go here and I press and I put Shift 4, for example. Why the first time is not working? Shift 4. When I click on save, what the hell? Set client 2 ... What? Get selection text. I was assuming that this get the key selection text was the no. Key structure. Okay, I think we can ignore it. We don't have to print. Well, we will have to print it anyway. Yeah, we will have to print it because when we will load the widget, we will need to show. We need to show the key binding, right? But if we are loading, wait a second. Can I set? Set selected key. Okay. So I can do it like this. So maybe it's okay. So I will load from the config file. I will load from a config file the actual keys, and so they will come out as key chords, and then I will just set the selected key to the key chords. I think it's okay. Okay, let's try to make. Let's create a variable. Let's create a variable on the level, just as an example. Okay, and we call it selected key. I call it selected key, and this one will be of type key selector, input key select. No, of type. What is the type? So I already forgot. In selected key input chord. I think is input chord, right? What is the difference between input chord and input chord? I think this, we need it input chord. So let's say input chord. Okay. So this variable is called selected key and is called input chord. So when we save our widget, I want to take this selected key and put it in my level why I call it selected key, which is a keyword. Let's call it differently. I call it PS selected key. Okay, PS selected key. We are sure we are not messing up with any other names, which is the same, right? I cannot do it like this because actually that variable is on the level, so I need to do. Well, let's set it on the player. Maybe it's easier because on the level, let's do it on my third-person character, right? Yes, I think it's better. By the way, it should be on the character, not on the map. Yeah, I think it's better. Let's put it on the character just as an example. So I go in my third-person character blueprint, right? And which is, by the way, is valid also for NPCs, but in this case we don't care. We add a new variable which we call PS selected key, and we make it input chord. Okay, and now this one is valid. So when we save, what I want to do, I want to get my player controller, and I want to get my pawn, get controller pawn, whatever is the name. Okay, so this will be my character. Now I need to cast it to third person, or otherwise it will never work. I need to cast it to third person character, right? Because he has to be my character. And then here finally I will have my get PS selected key. Okay, you see? So now it's popping up. So this one will be the one selected. Now this one I want to set it. I don't want to, so I want to set PS selected key. Exactly. So I will set it as the value that is coming out of here, and then I will print nothing. I don't care about printing shit. So basically this way is this thing, what this thing is doing is just whenever we save to, whenever we click on save on the widget, to save the selected key in the character, so the character has it on himself. Now when we open the widget, so now what we can do, we can say that when we do the construct, I think the construct, I don't know if the construct is called every time I do, yeah, but we do a create widget. So yeah, so here what we want to do, we want to do something very similar to this. So we want to take our character, assuming that is a third-party character, third person character, and we do a get yes selected, right? And this one we want to display it into the widget. So we want to do this, and then we want to do get whatever. I want to do set set selected key, right? Something like that. Set no. What? How do I set the how do I set um, how to set this key? I think I did it. Sorry, I had it there and I deleted it. No, it's not the side. It was something else. How do I selected key? Set selected key. Yeah, why was not showing up? It was, maybe I was not seeing it. I did set selected key. Was it okay? I was not seeing it for some reason. So set selected key. So we set this. We set this, and we just say okay. Okay. So what this will do? It will be very simple. I think we can save everything. Basically, when I press key K, so here there is nothing yet. So I click on it. I select, for example, Shift 3. Okay. When I click on save, it will save Shift 3 on my character. So now, in theory, my character has a Shift 3 as a default. So when I press key again, yes, you see, the keyboard mapping is maintained. Before it was not like this. Before it was, this one was just empty. Okay, so if I remove this part, and I play it again, whatever I set here, and I press save, when I open it again is empty, you see? So this part is actually saving. Okay, that's pretty cool. This is what I needed. This is what I need. This is what I actually needed. So so good. I think that this is exactly what we need. So we will have now. The only problem is a bit of the graphics, because this is very small. I mean, this button here. Well, we can decide. We can decide the text. We can decide this text size, but like Shift, like Control and Shift, I think is the longest. Yeah, Shift is the one that takes more space. Yeah, so we need enough space to actually display this, but it's okay. I think in our macro editor. So I think that's it. Then what we will do, we will have well, we can do it with jump. I think we can we can retarget the jump functionality, right? So if you want, we can do this, so we have it completed. So we can say something like so we can remap this. Now when we save, I think we can do the job. Let's do the job just to see if that code is working okay. Removing and saving and doing all this stuff. All this stuff is good stuff. And then we need to do what we found here on the page, okay? So we need to do exactly this. So we need to do get input setting, get input settings. Then we need to do get action mapping by name, get action mapping by name. This will be our jump, and I guess the jump in this project is anyway set, right? No, yes, it's jump. Oh my god, we have so many possibilities for jump here. At the moment it's spacebar, but it's okay. So we say jump, right? We say jump. Then what we need to do? We need to do a for each loop, because there may be more than one. That's the point. And for each loop, we will remove action mapping. Remove action mapping. And this remove action mapping will take the key mapping, and as a target it will take this one. Okay, fine. Okay, and then we have to set the new one. So when completed, we do an add action mapping. And in this case, we need to create. So we need to break. So we take the key from here. So there is the selected key. So I can also take it from here. I need to make a break of this. Right? Need to make a break of this, and I need to make input action key mapping. Make input action key mapping. Okay, this one we'll call it jump, and we will associate each one to each one. Okay, and this one we will associate it here, and the target should be, I guess, this guy, right? Yes, and the target should be this guy. Okay, I think it's cool. Now we just need to connect this somewhere here, and I guess that is what we need to do. I think this is what we need to do. So what will happen? What will happen when I click on save? By the way, button 158 is not the best name, huh? Can we rename it somehow? To save button. And this will be input selector jump. Okay. So when I open this, then I go here and I say I want to change the jump to be shift 2, right? When I press on save, in theory, it should read. So if I press shift 2 now, it should jump. Nice, it works. If I press space, Space does nothing. The shift 2 is doing my jump. Okay. If I change it again and I say that now it's space again, and I save it, now when I press space it's jumping. Okay, pretty cool. So this is nice. It was fairly easy, I would say. It was fairly easy. So this is a good example, right? It is a good example. Now what I can do is to move. Now the question that we have is, the question that I have now is the following. Here we are associating to the jump. Okay, and jump is a predefined action in our project setting. So we have an input here which is called jump, right? In our game, I think we need to create something that is like shortcut 1, shortcut 2, shortcut 3, shortcut 4, shortcut 5, up to 0. And so this will be like predefined. No. Well, yes, we can do that. But basically for us will be the settings of our Quickbar, right? So the first one of our Quickbar, the second one. So we can call them like Quickbar 1, Quickbar 2, Quickbar 3. And then we will associate a key to Quickbar 1, and then when we click on the yes, I think it works. Yes, I think it works. Yeah, I think it's fine. So we need to create a number of input mapping here as a default, or we create them on the fly. But I think it's a bad idea to create them on the fly, right? Because our Quickbar will always be, well, that I don't know. Let's go back to our game. Is the Quickbar by default having a predefined number of shortcuts, or is like infinite? Because if it's like infinite, it's a bit annoying. Even if we can, with this code basically we can create a new input action mapping even if it doesn't exist. So I could plug in here any name, I can plug in here Quickbar 0, Quickbar 1, Quickbar 2, Quickbar 3, and it can go up to infinite. I think there is no limitation. So probably the best way to do it will be that the Quickbar itself, which is this control here, when it's starting, so when it's set up, there is already a bunch of stuff, because obviously it's reading what is the widget, get of widget of class, container, well, what are we doing here? I don't understand. Set the macro. Macro, I think, is our variable that holds all our shortcuts. Range, target. Because this one is stored in the container ref. So this guy assumes that our container window already has the list of shortcuts, and the list of course shortcut, if it's greater than 1, then it's making blank macros. Okay, and then it populates the macro. How does it populate the macro? And then it binds event to W button, click dispatcher, show macro row. Let me see how it populates the macro for a second, because I want to understand. So button array clear, clear children, wrap box. It goes from 0 to 26. So this is kind of hard coded. So it's like if our there are like 26 default positions. Then it's doing a loop. It's creating a new widget. It's taking, you know, the information from the macro variable. Icon, label, icon category. It's setting about okay. So, but it's assuming that this macro thing is valid. I don't know why yes from 0 to 26. I have no idea. There's like a limitation of 26 for whatever reason. But I think it's fine. So in our container, I think in our container we have the definition of this macro. So if I go into my, if I go back to the construction and I go into my container ref is a W container. If I search widgets W container, here it is. So inside this guy, there should be macro set macro. It's a bit too easy. Get macro set UI layout reference. Okay, so it's basically reading it from the save file. So because we are saving the state of the game, well, saving the configuration, let's call it, to a layout file. And is also saving the macro. Now, if I delete that file, I think it will be all empty by default. Yeah, I think it will be all empty. Okay, I think I understand how it works. So it will be all empty. So in case it's empty, in the construction of this, it will read this variable as empty. It will make blank macros. This populate will do nothing. So we will just have, you know, 26 empty variable. Yeah. From 0 to 26 again. Okay, this is 0 to 26, which is hard coded, where I don't really like, but okay, fine. Fine. Okay. So, so I think the saving of the macro and the loading of the macro is fine. The only thing that we are missing is that at the moment we don't have this key association. So the association of the key to the Quickbar button, right? And this is something that we have to fix. I mean, we have to add. This is something we have to add. So we need to add. So let me just check one thing. If the current event appeared on the calendar, yeah, started 3 hours ago. Actually, it's not exactly 3 hours, but it's okay. We started 2 hours ago. We started 2 hours ago. Just 1 second, I'm fixing something. So instead of 19, should do 20. I just fixed our calendar. I wanted the date to show correct. Good. So we understood a lot of stuff. I think we understood a lot of stuff. So we basically have to expand this macro object array of struct macro, right? This array of struct macro, I don't know exactly where is defined. I think probably we defined this thing was done by someone with no C++ skills, or anyway, it was not using C++. So I guess that this array of struct macro is defined here in the blueprints. I think he created probably a new object somewhere. Let me see. Struct macros, it is. Is under game data. Okay, there it is. So, okay. So yes, macro icon label, which by the way is spelled wrong. Label. I think I can change it without doing too many. Well, it will break my save game. But anyway, my save game is broken anyway. So, because I have to create a new variable. So label icon category text mode. So we need to add here. A new variable which will be called key binding, something like that. Let's call it key binding, and this one will be of type input code, right? Of type input code. What else? Yeah, as a default is all empty. Okay, so now our structure macro has the ability to store also the key binding. Lowercase, uppercase. I see this guy put everything lowercase. Okay. I think it's fine. So now the saving and loading of the macro will work perfectly, so we don't have to change anything. It will not change anything. So this part will stay as it is. The save of the file, right? The save of the file will stay the same. And the only thing I need to change, so this one I can save it, it stay as it is. Okay. Now, also this part will stay as it is because here we don't do anything special. But yeah, we need to add this thing. So where do we add it? Help clear icon. I think we should add it here somewhere. Right? It should be one of these buttons. Now these buttons are what? These buttons are is this a standard button or is a special? Now the style has been changed. Yeah, there is a lot of changes here. Help. Help. I don't know if it's really needed, but shortcut name. Should we put it here on the right, or should we put it down, making a bit bigger and put it down here, because I need something like you know, I need something like this. Okay, it looks a bit big here. Is this a grid? Let me see. Overlay. This is an overlay with combo to the north, to the north, to the north. These are all having the same thing. I don't get if he used the alignment. Did he change the padding or? Ah yes, 128. Yeah, he's explicitly changed the padding. So it is a bit hard coded in terms of position. So basically moved it 64, 128, 96. One hundred and 128. So it's 32. So it's moving it by 32 all the time. So this will be 160 for us then, right? 160, okay. So we can move it here. The problem is the style. Is there a way to copy the style between two buttons? I don't think so. Huh? I think I have to do it manually, right? I think I need to do it manually. I know there is copy. Oh, wow! I can copy and paste the style. Oh my god, this engine is so incredible. Okay, I copy and paste the style. I also need the text to be. The problem is that the text is actually a different. Let me try to copy the font. Wow. This engine, boys. It's making things so simple. The only issue I see is that it's not taking. I mean, if I look at it, it's not really taking. Trying to zoom it in. It seems that it's not taking it properly. You see that the border, maybe you cannot see it, it's too small for you, but it seems that the border is not taken care of in the proper way. So it's not exactly the same style. While here it applied this background image, here, even if I specified I want to use it, it didn't. Why? I don't know. But anyway, for now it's good enough. Now the only problem is that we need to tell the player that this will be the button that he will use to set up the key. So I don't think I like this too much. I think we can say key binding. I mean, we can have another line with key binding, or we can put help and clear one next to each other. Maybe that's easier. I mean, this help button really, I don't like it here. I mean, help is a generic help, is not the setting of this. This help button, I don't know what's the purpose of this help button here. Trying to understand. It is a grid, so it is a grid. Okay, let's make it simple, and then someone will probably make it pretty. Pretty. We'll make it nice. We can because in theory I should add one line here. I should have like a text. For sure, I need a text. Can I copy this one? Text icon, checkbox. I need a text similar to this one, which is actually connected to my input key. Why is not going inside of this? No idea. Should be inside my overlay. Yeah, should be inside my overlay, but I think we are missing the padding. And this will be the problem is that this one will be a long one. Will be like key binding, Key binding. I think we need to explain it, otherwise people will not get it. I really want to move this freaking help out of the way. And I want to have my key binding before this, right? So I want to have this one pretty much where so I want to have this one at 96. I want to have this one 96. I want to have this one 128. I want to have this one at 160, and the other one I would like to remove it, I guess. So I mean, not remove it because it's a pity to remove functionality, but this help button, if I could move it anywhere else, or I make the help and clear. Yeah, I mean, let's make the help and clear on the same line. I think it's okay. So this one we also go on 160. The difference that this one would be like on the left, and this guy would be like on the right. I think it's okay. Why there is all this space between these two? I want them to be a bit closer. So yeah, 120. I don't know if it's very clear, but I think it's okay. Right? Should we go this way? I think it's fine. I think it's fine. So we I really didn't like it. Item label. Because I changed the fucking name. I know. Yeah, I changed it because it was spelled wrong. And now I'm suffering the consequences. I decided to change it. Because it was spelled wrong. Okay. Just trying to fix where it break. Okay. There are more places, huh? I imagine. Okay, so there is also this one. Item label. Right? This stuff is item label. So this one should go into here and should go into here. I hope I'm not breaking too much stuff. But I guess it's better we fixed it now, right? Otherwise, we'll bring this small mistake. I mean, it was just a typo, nothing big, but label. So this one is going down there, okay, and nowhere else, okay. And then there is this one, it should be empty, and with this one we can remove, okay. And then there is another one here. So this one is actually going in two places. It's going down here and it's going to tooltip. Okay. Okay, should compile now. Okay, fine. So we fixed it. So, I mean, for now we didn't do much. We just set up. We just have set up. You know, we have set up the window to accept the key binding. So this one, in theory, should be able now to take the key binding. So should be able to. I mean, to click when I click on that button, I will be able to select a specific shortcut. Fine. Now, when I save, I mean, actually, there is no save in this thing, right? There is no save button. So whatever you change, as soon as you change something, is automatically saved. So I guess that's the idea. That's the idea behind it. I can see. So like if I change the description, and if I change this description, is there a kind of a non-change? No, it's not a non-change. So how is it doing it? Shortcut name. Wait. Text editor, macro editor, text box, micro label. Okay, also this one is spelled wrong. This text box macro label on text committed. Yes, you're saying so. There is every time you change something, automatically is saving it on text commit. Set up button by icon name. Okay, so it's basically redoing the setup of the button. Okay, and then it's setting up Set up button by icon name. Icon name, set up. I think we don't need to call this again because actually it is only for the visuals, but in our case just thinking why is doing this. Well, when you change the name, but like for example when you change the category, right? When you change the category, should not set up the button again. Yeah, in fact it doesn't do it. Okay, so I think we are thinking the same way. We have the same line of thought with the guy that did this part. So it's not setting up, set icon category, it's not setting up the button again. It's only, okay, I don't know what is this, but populate icon select, I know it seems so complex, but okay, I don't know, it's doing something with categories which we don't care. Let's leave it as it is. So let's assume that that part is okay. So we need to add a new one. Right? We need to add a new one of these events, which is when the key binding is changed. Yes, when the key binding is changed. So I guess we have an on change here as well. We have an on key selected, called whenever a new key is selected by the user. And we have an on is selecting key changed, called whenever the key selection mode starts or stops. What the hell? What is the difference? Let's test it in our sample project. In our sample project, if I go here and if I say input key selector, on key selected, and I print something, this will be on key selected. And then we have another one which is print string on is selecting key changed. Connected key changed. Okay, let's see what this does because I have no idea of the difference. So if I go here and I click, it's doing on is selecting key change. Okay, this one we don't care. We care only when is okay, so the second one is happening when you start and when you stop, while the first one is only when you change it. So which for us on key selected. Okay, so for us the one that we need is on key selected. On key selected. So let's go back to our project. Hello, boys. I see some people connected. You're very quiet today in the chat. You're very quiet, boys. You can say hello. Hello. You're very, very quiet. Oh, while you are there, I can do some advertising of our Patreon, maybe. So we have a Patreon site. You can go on patreon.com/planeshift. You can find it also in the description, but it's this one. If you like the project or you just like to support the project, and yeah, we created a Patreon page where you can just help us with some money. It's not that we really need money, to tell you the truth, because I mean, but I mean, we don't have a big, expenses. I mean, we maintain the website, the servers, and such, but it's not hugely expensive. But still, I think it would be nice, to have your support, just to know that you are there and you like the project. We actually created 3 different tiers. You can give me feedback if you like the tiers or not. I can change them. But the first tier is like $3 per month, and it's just, giving you access to the Patreon posts. So the one that you see here at the bottom. So there are a number of Patreon posts that I do kind of regularly. I mean, I'm not lately. I didn't do much, but kind of regularly. It gives you a supporter tag on Discord channel, and it gives you access to our supporter channel in Discord. Then there is another level, which is say kind of an upgrade, which is $10, which gives you all the previous perks plus also kind of condensed highlight videos and special videos. So I will flag a few as $10. The majority are the $3 ones, so don't be concerned about that. The majority of the content will be for the $3 range, but I just adding some 10 just for the guys that want to do it. Then I added a bit of a crazy one, $50 per month. I don't know if anyone will do it, but with $50 per month, you get access. You have all the previous benefits, obviously, of the 2 tiers. Plus, you get also access to our developer channel. Our developer channel is a Discord channel where we discuss about the game and we chat between developers, and where we post maybe early screenshots or early stuff or the stuff that we are doing. So in that channel only developers are allowed, but let's say in addition also the people that are in this tier level of Patreon will be allowed. So if you want to help us, just go there and chime in. Okay, so we understood this thing on key selected. So what I need to do in my project here then is when on key selected, which means that we have a new key binding, right? We have a new key binding. What I need to do, I don't need to reset up the button, because visually the button will look exactly the same. But the problem is, how do I know which shortcut I need to bind? Because the code here will be the same that we did in our test project. Okay, so which is this one. So here will be, it will basically be this one, exactly this one. The one that we do on the save, right? Yes, exactly. So basically this code, I can copy it and can put it in our project. Now the problem though is how to name it. Because let me just make it nicer looking. How to name it, because I mean this was the case of jump, right? But in our case it's not jump. In our case it's a dynamic quickbar, which is changing its buttons based on the whatever the player wants. Now we decided to have a fixed 26, which I think is okay. I mean, in this case, it's helping us a bit the fact that they are fixed numbers, so they are not changing. They are not changing in numbers, which is nice. The question is, do they already have a name? Do they already have a name? When we create them, because we can use the name of the button somehow. Well, we have an icon name, The problem is that we have the icon name, we have the tooltip, we have the category, and we have an ID. Or we use the ID. Current macro. I don't know what is this. The ID. Or we use just the text that is displayed on top of it, which is the tooltip, I think. Optional text. What is this optional text? Optional text is just a label, by the way. So if we use the label, first of all, let me check if you can have an input. If I do a new action mapping, okay. In this new action mapping, I call it /cast summon missile, just to be annoying, you know. Does this work? Yeah, it seems to work. So I can call it as I want, even with slash or even with special characters. Yeah, I can call it as I want. Okay, that's good. So we can have any we can have any characters in the name of the action mapping. But I'm not fully convinced to name it like the tooltip. I think naming it like the tool, like if you have then two tooltips with the same name, it will not work, right? It will not work. No, we cannot use the name. We cannot use the name. No, we need to use a sequence. We need to use a sequence like Quickbar 1, Quickbar 2, Quickbar 3, Quickbar 4, up to Quickbar 26. I think this is what we should do. How does he know? How does he know? I think this is this ID, you know, current macro. I think this current macro is exactly what we need. Is the current macro button click event. Custom click event. Set current macro to ID. This ID, where is this ID coming from? This ID is nothing else than the order, yeah, the index of the array of all the macro. Yeah, so I think it's fine. I think we start from 0. I think it's fine. I think we can use the ID, the current macro ID, as the name. So we can. The only problem will be sorry. The only problem will be to know. I mean, all the empty ones, because the empty ones, I think we should skip. I don't want to create, 26 new bindings. I think it would be pretty stupid to create 26 new bindings. So I think we can just create one. Yeah, I think so, because we have the populate. I think we have to do it in two places. One, when we are loading the game and we are repopulating all the macro buttons, and once obviously when we are defining a new macro button, right? So these are the two places where we have to do put our code. So the populate is here. This one is the one reading from, and I guess we don't do it for the empty. We do it only for the ones that are meaningful. Okay, but let's start to do the other one first. Otherwise, we will not have nothing. We have nothing to load until we define at least one, right? Which is a good point. So let's Hello, I see someone connected from Twitch as well. We are streaming on Twitch and YouTube at the same time, so maybe you will hear me speaking with people that are actually on YouTube. So the point. So I lost a bit my track. Okay, yeah. We were saying there are two places where we have to insert this piece of code. One is when we are populating the macro at load time, and one is when we are setting the macro for the first time. Okay. So when we are setting the macro for the first time, we will be here and we will be exactly in this on key selected, which is the one. So here we can say, let's put a comment on this and say add new key binding. Okay. So this one is adding a new key binding to our macro, and in this case, can we give this guy a better name than input select 264? Input selector. Let's call it key bind. Let's call it input selector. Let's call it key binding. Key binding or input key binding. Input key binding. I think it's okay. Input key binding. Okay, nice. So inside of this, what we need to do, we need, apart from the fact that we need to connect this to this, we need to define this name, right? We need to define this name, and this name will be used in when you save the config, when you load the config, and just to search it when you change it. Exactly. So we have to be sure that this name is correct, and so we decided to use the current macro. Now current macro, we have it here. So I assume that this one is already correct because it's set up. When is it set? I think it's set when you click on the button itself. Yeah, I think it's set because when you have it here and you click on it, and then you click on this one, which is the editor, I think it takes the button that you clicked. I'm pretty sure of that. So I think we can assume that the macro ID, the current macro, is already correct. Let's assume that for a second. I don't want to follow the whole code just to see if it's correct or not. Let's say that it's correct. So I think I can just take this current macro, right? I want to append it to, I want to do kind of a append string, append. I think I want to append, and I think we can call it just quickbar number, right? So this will be quickbar 0, quickbar 1, quickbar 2, quickbar 3, and so on. So it will be as simple as that. This will be our name. Now I think there is no big issue in transforming a name, a string into a name. I think it will do it automatically for me. So if I take this and I just input it here, it will transform it. Yes. And I need to be sure that this one is also put here. Okay. So I destroy the current mapping in this part of the code, and I create a new one in this part of the code. Okay. I think it should be fine. Can I improve a bit the lines? No, I think it's okay. I think it should be fine. it may be already kind of working, because yes, I think this part will be already kind of working. So as soon as I click, let me think about it. As soon as I click on this, I will be able to set a key. Let's say that I press like Shift 2. I press Shift 2. That key is getting set as part of a new action mapping, which is called Quickbar 3 or Quickbar 4 or whatever is the button. And that will be set. Now, whenever that key is pressed, now there is the complexity, because now whenever the key is pressed, I need to actually execute. The code. At the moment, it is pointing to nothing. So at the moment, it is not executing anything, because this new. So here I'm only saying that the specific key is set to a specific action mapping, but I'm not saying. What it does. So I'm not saying what it does. To say what it does, I need to connect. So it's like if I add here, it's like if I add here a new entry, which is called the Quickbar 0, which is pointing to my thing. Now, the problem is that I cannot do it dynamically. That's very annoying. Because this thing is expecting me to. Can I search a key binding by name? That would be so nice. If I could do. Instead of doing input jump, input. No, wait a second. If I could. There is jump here, right? There is jump. So he knows that I have a jump event. The problem is, what is this event anim notify? No, this is something else. The problem is that it's not doing an input jump here because I'm inside a window. I'm not inside the player character. So I think he's able to do the binding only inside my PS character, right? That's the idea. So if I go here and I do jump, you see there is input action event jump. So I could connect immediately to action mapping. The problem is that my action mapping are dynamic. The problem is that my action mappings are dynamic. So input action. So or I do like I was trying to do here before, so that whenever you press a key, first of all it's checking for the input action mapping. But if there was a better way, I would prefer. Hmm, hmm, hmm. That is a good question, boys. So basically the question would be, if you have the question would be, what is the question? The question would be, if I have dynamic or at runtime kind of action mapping. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to bind your input axis and action events at runtime. In most of them game, we have the option of customizing keyboard input, so I'm assuming that you have one database in program. Yeah, the problem is that my dynamic is not only the key that is dynamic, is the mapping that is dynamic. Which is very annoying. Let me see if in C++ code there is something that sparkles an idea on how to do it. So actually I have a keyboard binding table where I'm just kind of keyboard binding table when I'm just trying to find a row and see what happens. Keyboard binding table. Can I access to this keyboard binding table? Keyboard binding. No. Keyboard table. Keyboard something. No. Because was is the action mapping. So mappings. Actions, action mappings, action, create, get action, add widget. Get action mapping by name. Get action mapping by name. Now, but basically, I need to bind. I need to trigger some code whenever one action mapping is called. So this is what I need to do. I need to so there is kind of a bind, it's kind of a I don't think it's available in blueprints. I don't think it's available in blueprints. That's the problem. Let me search for the C++ part, but because I think what it's doing, is for sure is doing something similar to what you see here above. Whenever you are pressing a key, the first thing that the game does is to check if there is an action mapping defined, right? And based on that action mapping is then deciding what to do. For sure there is a part of the code, a standard part of the code that is doing this. So you see input setting now. I don't know exactly where it is in a real engine code, but there will be, you know, and get axis mapping, get action by name. If you have any ideas, you guys, let me know. Hello, Gion, welcome. Maybe you can help me. I don't know when you joined. You joined like a few minutes ago. Force build key map, set action mapping, get action mapping by name, get action, get input setting, populate, post edit chain, post edit property. Save keys, UI input setting. No, it's not here. It's not in this class. But basically what I need to do, just for you to know, maybe you can help me. We have in the game a Quickbar, okay? The Quickbar is where you set the key mappings. For example, you say that when you press 1, it casts a specific spell. When you press 2, it casts another spell. When you press 3, it casts another spell. So that Quickbar is already in place and is already working. Now, the problem is that I would like to associate a specific key, you know, to the quick, because the Quickbar at the moment works only by pressing the button with the mouse. So you click on the first button and it does something. You click the second button and it does something. So it's not yet associated to the keys. So I was doing the key association. I managed to have, you know, to create a new key binding based on what the player wants. So I will have in my Quickbar, I will have a new key binding which is called, for example, Quickbar 0, right? Quickbar 0, Quickbar 1, Quickbar 2, up to Quickbar 26, which is created based on a specific key. So whenever I have that specific key pressed, let's say that the first one we associate to Shift 1, whatever. So when I press Shift 1 in the game, this binding is recognized and the Quickbar 1 input action should be called, right? And it is the piece that I'm missing. So considering it's dynamic, it's not something that I set up front, you know. I don't know exactly how to call the code. Now, an easy hack will be, yeah, I think maybe we can do this and then we fix it. An easy hack will be to add a new action mapping here, to actually add 26 action mappings, which are called exactly the same way. So they are called Quickbar 0, Quickbar 1, Quickbar 2, Quickbar 3. So we add as many as we need, without any specific key set, because anyway we will set it during the game. And then yeah, maybe I can just do it like this. I think it's the simplest way, boys. I think it's absolutely the simplest way. And then here, if I now say Quickbar 0, you see it pops up. Now it will not be really dynamic, right? Hello, Rwanda. It will not be really dynamic in the sense that if I have defined 26, that's 26. I cannot do 50. But who cares? Maybe 26 is enough, you know. And so basically what I would do, I would say, yeah, I think it's okay. I think we can do it this way. Because the other way would be to intercept. The way I was thinking was to intercept, you know, the input action everything. So input action star, you know, and then say, okay, if he's quick action, if he's quick bar 1, then go here. If he's quick bar 2, then go there. I mean, based on what it is, do whatever it needs to be done. But it seems that in the blueprint there is not this capability. The only capability is okay, to check for any key press, and then based on the key press, understand what is your binding, and then based on the binding, do the stuff. So I think we are just making things overcomplicated for nothing, right? No, I'm already adding them. I'm already adding them in the blueprint. Adding them is not a problem. You see here, I'm adding them here. I have add action mapping. This blueprint node is already allowing you to add the action mappings by blueprint. So I already have the blueprint here, which is adding the action mapping based on. So that's done. That's done. But then I need to trigger it. You know, I need to trigger my macro. But you know what? I decided I will just do it this way. I will just do it this way. It's much simpler. Right? Super simple. We can start with 10. I mean, who cares about 26? We can start with 10. So we will put, I mean, it's not super nice. I understand. It's a bit hard-coded, but who cares? We will put here 26. And now I can do it for the first 3, I don't know. For the first 10. I will put here quick bar 0, quick bar 1, quick bar 2. By the way, I still don't know if it starts from 0 for 1. I think it starts from 0 because it's an array. So quick bar 4, quick bar 5, quick bar. If I do it too quick, it's not taking the input. Quick bar 7, and I miss 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. Quick bar 8, quick bar 9, and quick bar, I don't know why it's working so in quick bar 10. Okay, so we will have this all defined, assigned to none. Okay, so they are not assigned to anything because those will be loaded at runtime. Right, so so now the question is so now the action, the question is quick bar 1, etc. So I will have all these thingies. I will have a lot of those, and all these ones will have to do the same thing. So based on the number, well, based on the ID, right? So this one will be, this will be setting the ID 0, 1, 2, 3, and then what they have to do, they have to do the same thing as if the button is clicked. Exactly the same thing. So in this I think we have already. So we have to trigger inside our Win shortcut. How do we do this? How do we do this? We'll have to trigger in the same. So this button. Set up button by icon name. So it's like if I have to get. So or do I go to the window, I search the right array, and I click on the button. I think it's the only way I can do it, right? So I think I should already have a Win shortcut. To get the reference to the Win shortcut, Let me see if I have it. I should already have UI pointers. No. Instance. Where I was storing all the window pointers, I don't remember. We had a place. I think they are in the player controller. I think they are in the Planeshift player controller. Yes, here they are. Here are the links to all the windows. So I need to add, because it's not here now, right? I don't see. Let me see. Just to avoid doing it twice. Container ref, inventory, system message, car creation, containers, car selection, banking, exchange, guild, item details, loot, merchant, bubbles, quest, spellbook, spell search, task guild, system message. No, we don't have it yet, so we need to add another window. Exactly, yeah. Yes, in this mess. This part of the code is a bit of a mess, but it's okay. Here we have to store the handle to the shortcut window. Okay, so I need to do the same thing. So first thing, I need to add a new variable here. So I will add a new variable, not in PS character, but in Planeshift player controller. Exactly. By the way, all these variables I could categorize, right? I think it would be a bit easier. Can I categorize all this stuff as, yeah, let's categorize it. As category, we can call it UI pointers. Okay. UI pointers. Let's just categorize all of these variables so we clean up a bit this mess, because UI pointers, UI pointers, UI pointers, and the same for all the other windows. So that they are a bit easier to search. When we are looking at the variables list. Okay. A lot of back and forth, but we are nearly done. Okay. So we have all the windows inside these UI pointers. Okay, so we add a new variable, which we will call win shortcuts. And it must be of type shortcuts. I think we have a win shortcuts, exactly. This one should be of the same category. Okay. We can make it visible outside player controller. Now that we did this, we can go inside our container and store the reference, right? So I need to do exactly the same as this. Well, the I need to go here. I need to compare this one to our shortcut window, which I hope I already have. Yes. So we have to check if this window is the shortcut window. If it's the shortcut window, then we branch. Let me just understand the logic here. If it's false, I go to the next branch. Okay. If it's false, I go to the next branch. And the condition is this one. Okay. Then if it's true, we cast to win shortcuts. Okay. And then we get the same player controller reference. In this case, we get our win shortcuts. Okay. And we set it as this one. Okay, good. Yeah, I think we have it all. So that is store the shortcuts window handler and player controller. Okay, good. So we have this handler to the window, so it's easier for us to now retrieve, you know. Why is not working? I need to plug this in. Okay. Nice. So we have now pointed to that window. So now from my PS character, what I can do, I can get my controller. I can cast it to player controller, right? So this part will be exactly the same for all of them. Now, is there a way to freaking yeah, I think I need to make a function. I will make a sub function of this, otherwise I will have to duplicate this a million times. The only thing I need to do, what is this key structure? Input action. It's giving me the key, but the key I really don't like. I really don't need. I just need to know the number, you know. So I just need to know which quickbar is. So if it's quickbar 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I need to make, yeah, let's make a new function. I think is the easiest. So I can make a new function under interaction. I don't know. I'll just make a function under whatever. And this function will be quickbar execute command, right? Quickbar execute command. So this quickbar execute command is pretty simple. You should just have an input which is an integer, which is the ID of the button. So button ID, I don't know you want to call it button ID. So this will be an integer. So as simple as that. Yes. Now inside of this, I will have to do this stuff. Yes. So here would be very simple. I will just call that function, that quickbar. How do I call it? Quickbar execute command. Okay. And that's it. So I will do it for all 10, actually all 26 if we implement 26. The difference is that I will call quickbar execute command 0, 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 right? So it will just be a duplication of this. So call correct function based on quickbar key bind. I mean on key binding key assigned to quickbar button. I don't know, something like that. We can do it with the first two for now, okay? But then anyway, we'll have to duplicate this for all the others. I think there is no better way, you know, to parameterize it more. I mean, there is, but probably in C++, if we find this input action generic. But at the moment, we don't have an input action generic, so we just keep it as it is. So now what we want to do? By the way, in our mission, boys, I think we're still at the first point. Huh? We are still here. We are still here. I mean, this one was a bit tough. Huh? It was not an easy one. So we are still at the first point in the mission. But I think it's a good one because associating keys to Quickbars, I think is pretty cool. It's something that we would have need anyway. I mean, not just for spells, but for anything. You know? So it's working in the old plan shift. We want it also in the new plan shift. The same boys. Same boys. I think one guy may be wondering where I am. Okay, sorry. I got distracted by something else. What do we need to do? Okay, button 0, button 1, target self, yes, we are in the same function. So we go here. So now we know the ID of the Quickbar, right? We know the ID of the Quickbar, which is good, but I don't think is enough. Because now we will have to take this to get our win shortcuts, and now we have the window. So now it's like if we are inside a window of the shortcut. Now here I will have to do what? Now here I will have to find the right button and press it. I think that's the easiest for me, you know, to simulate the fact that I'm pressing the same button. That's the easiest way. So, because the other way would be well, I can actually I hope you cannot reorganize the buttons by order. If you can change the order of the buttons in the Quickbar, this may mess up a bit the code I was thinking now. So I have to take that into account. Maybe in the future we will allow the reorganization of the buttons in the Quickbar. So if that is the case, I need to search by ID. So I think I need to do a kind of a for loop inside the Quickbar, search the right one, and execute. It's a bit annoying though. I don't know. I mean, it's fast. I'm not expecting this to be very slow, but someone is typing something to me. Yeah, it was a small survey on the quality of the service. So I'm thinking what is the quickest way to reach the functionality, because this setting up the button, right, is so or we keep an array of commands on the side and we just access this array of commands and that's it. Let me think about it. Well, we have our macro, right? Our macro is always updated. Yeah. That's much better. We have our macro thingy. right? Our macro thingy, we keep it updated. Yeah, I think we keep it updated. This macro thing, right? This macro array of macro. Yeah, set array elements. Yeah, this one is always updated, so that's perfect. So we don't have to search any button at all. We can just access the index. Now the problem is that if I'm changing the order of the buttons in the Quickbar, will that mess up my code? Probably yes. Well, we can keep the ID, but the ID is based on the position or not. I don't know. That's the problem we will have to think about, because I think that the organization of the Quickbar can mess up the code, but it's fine. So we can just access to this. Now this variable is not visible from the outside, but we just click here, boom, and we make it accessible from the outside. So which is pretty cool. That's it. So we take our macro, so we do a nice get macro, and here we have the list of all the macro to execute. And at this point what we do, of this macro we need to take, there is an array of macro, we need to get, the ID, right? So we get the ID, and after we have this, I think I can break the the structure here, and the only problem I have is this one. Why is an array of strings? Because I may have multiple commands. I see. Because actually in the shortcut you have multiple lines, and so you may need to execute all those lines. Okay, let me see just the code what it does, because here we are pretty close. We just need to execute this. So let me just see, when I press a button, right? When I press a button, what the hell happens? On mouse button down, bind. Okay. Bind what? On clicked, call W button dispatcher. Okay. So there is a dispatcher that is dispatching this to the to the father, obviously, because it doesn't know. So still in the shortcut window, then the we should have here the dispatched message. Clicked. Execute macro. Sorry, who is calling this? It should be the dispatcher, right? Execute. Yeah, exactly. The dispatcher is doing all of this stuff, and then is why is doing all this mess? Can we rename this to button click? What is doing here? So when the button is clicked, is updating the edit panel. Ah, yes, because he wants to know which one is selected in case you are in edit mode. Okay, that's fine, so that we don't care at the moment. Then he's taking all the macro and he's executing the macro. Okay, he's executing the macro, which is taking basically, I guess, all the lines and sending them to the chat. You see, for us it would be much easier to just call this function actually, instead of trying to redo it. I don't think we should try to redo it. Gian, sorry, I missed your comments. They were a long time ago. Sorry, you said do the key bind it on button itself or in the slot? I mean, you press 2, will execute whatever is on slot 2. Yes, that's the point. Yeah, so we want when maybe I didn't show you the shortcut here, but basically in our macro, in our button editor, you can have a number of buttons. Then you click on a button and you can edit the button, and it is the editor for the buttons. And one of the things that I added today is the fact that you can assign a key binding to that button, right? So for example, you say, okay, this button has shift 1 as the binding, right? And by the way, I think I should make this a bit larger, otherwise it will not fit. I don't know if it auto. Okay, we will see. And yes, and then if you press shift 1, you will execute whatever that button is assigned to. So that's exactly what I'm doing. So what I'm thinking about is that for us probably is easier, to just call this execute macro. This execute macro, how does it know? Because it's inside the macro button click event. I think I want to change this a bit. So if we make set total lines, set current line, set current macro. Oh my god, why we are doing this? It is a very bad idea. I mean, this function is relying on variables that are set on the window. That is a super bad idea. I mean, this function should not rely on anything external. Is there a reason why we did this? I didn't do it myself. There's another guy coding this part, but why macro executing? It is interesting. So he's probably locking. Okay, if he's executing, he's probably locking the execution of another macro. Yeah. I understand. Well, that's a good idea. So you cannot click on it a million times while the macro is still running. The problem is, how does it know that the macro completed considering his server side? What is this? What is this code? Start with /delay? Write chop 7? Oh my god, what is that? Set timer by function name. Execute macro. /delay. What the fuck? I mean, he's executing like one line every 7 seconds or something? Hmm. This code is a bit weird. This code is a bit weird. Okay, let's try to understand it, okay? So current line minus 1 greater than total lines, then go. If current line minus 1 we finished, then macro is not executing anymore. Okay, then I guess we remove total line somewhere. No, total line stays as it is. Current line minus 1 greater than total lines. Okay, anyway, maybe we start from 0. Okay, let's assume this works. Then we branch based on if my macro line starts with slash delay. So only that case is kind of managed in this part. Okay, because we allow the player to decide the delay of, okay, I think I understand, right? The delay of the different Mac. So you can decide that he waits a certain amount of time. Okay, it's fine. I think it's fine. Now it takes the delay, right? Chop by 7, which I guess is exactly delay plus a space. Yes. And it takes whatever is after delay. So if you said slash delay 5, then it takes that. It clamps it to 10-second maximum. Okay. And then is setting a timer on the function execute macro to execute the next line, and then it's saying current line plus plus. Okay, I think all of this makes sense. It's just allowing the player to add an additional command inside the macro, which is slash delay number of seconds, which is delaying the execution of the next line, which is okay. I think it's fine. It's fine. I think it's fine. If it's not a delay, it just execute the next line, right? Okay. I think I'm fine with this. It's just a bit confusing the way this thing is, because actually this part is the standard execution of the macro, and this part is the delay, which is below here, but it's okay. I think we have I understand how it works. This part will work anyway. Yes, this part will work anyway. Okay. So I think this part is okay. Current line plus plus. I like to have the variable above. This guy like it to have the variable below. But, so this is fine. So we have to execute this. We have to execute this from our Quickbar as well. The problem is that this thing is relying somehow on variables which are set on the window, which I really don't like. So it's not very, self-contained. It's not very self-contained. Like this set total lines, we are doing it up front on the window. I mean, we can do the same because it is not doing it. there is kind of an initialization, you know, it's initializing the execution of the macro. So it's initializing the current line is 0. That is the current macro. We are executing. Yeah, so this piece, unfortunately, we need to keep. It's a bit annoying. But, I mean, it's annoying, but relatively annoying. So I think what I can do, boys, is to copy all of that. To have exactly the same sequence would be a bit of a duplication. I don't like duplicated code, but I don't think we have other chances. So to take this, expose all these variables to the outside. Because is there a better way? Is there a better way? Well, I could have a macro setup function. I could create a new function which is called setup execute macro, which is called before this one, and is taking as an input the macro itself in the ID. Yeah, maybe I like it more, boys. Maybe I like it more. Maybe I like it more. Because that way I would be able to call just two functions instead of copying this shit. I don't really like to copy this into the other. Okay, so let's do this. Let's create a new function which is called setup execute macro, which is a very simple function which takes in input the macro itself, the macro array, so it's an array of strings, and the ID, right? So it takes the macro array, the macro which is a string array, so let's take this as a string array, and then it takes also the ID. This one is just an integer and is a standard value. Okay. And this one will do, hopefully we are not calling this execute macro from any other places, right? We call it here. No, we only call it here. Okay, fine. Fine. Then this setup will do this. So we'll set the current macro as the ID. We'll set the total number of lines to be the length of our macro. Right? And that's it. Nothing else. Current line 0, current macro equality is 1, macro is executing this one. Okay, so we have this nice function. So now we can substitute these lines with our setup execute macro, right? So we just pass in this thing, we pass in the ID, and then we just connect this with, this with this, and this with this, and then we remove all of that. We remove this. Okay, so if I didn't make any mistakes, hopefully I didn't, this should be exactly identical to what it was doing before, okay? So it's not doing anything different. It's not doing anything different. Right? So now what is the good part? The good part is that since we made this function, I think I can just call these two functions. One is a function, not an event. Why is it showing as an event? No, I'm not showing. Okay, so now that we made this, we have it a bit more encapsulated. I mean, it's not perfect because it's still relying on this freaking, it's still relying on these freaking variables here. But so, for example, no, it's already checked because there is already this branch that is executing a macro. It's not going to execute this again. Okay, it's nice. Now there is a kind of a protection for the user just clicking continuously. I think it's okay. So we need to call these two things. So going back to where we were, if I go here, I want to execute the command in the Quickbar. So I have my macro, which I get from my macros variable. Now I want to call the setup of execute macro, and then I want to call the execute macro, and right, and then I just have to pass in the ID and this macro thing here. Okay. Am I missing something? No, in the sense that now when I click, why there is a warning? Ah, yes, it's normal. This warning. Okay, so now when I click on the first one, yeah, when I press the button that is associated, when I press the key that is associated to that particular button, I go here and I say, hey, I need to execute the button ID 0, and this one is taking the command and is executing and is doing the setup. Yeah, I think it should be fine. It should be fine. Okay, let's try. I think now only a test will tell us if it's working or not. I think it's time to test, boys. Okay, let's see. I don't think it will work at the first run, but let's see. Maybe yes. I don't know. Let's see. So let's start the server in the client. Maybe I should have placed just a printout, but let's see. Usually I drag and drop variables to that function node. It will add inputs for you much faster. Drag and drop variables to the function node. Ah, I understand what you mean. I think I understand what you mean. I never did it that way. You mean that if I create... this one is not saved. Fuck. Why this one? Ah, this one is the other project. No problem. The other project I think we can close, right? I don't think we need the third person anymore. Let's close it. I think it's... what you mean is if I have a function here and I want to add a new input, you are just drag and dropping the input, but I don't understand from where you drag and drop, because okay, like from here, okay, like from PS character, like if I want to add this one here, no, What do you drag and drop? You drag and drop in the... How do you drag and drop it? You drag and drop it in the input. No, as soon as I click here, this thing goes away, so I don't know how to do it. Because you see, when I click here, I see the input, but as soon as I take one variable and I want to drop it here, I cannot do it. If I drop it here on top of the function, it's not working. It's asking me get or set, but it's then putting it like this. I don't know. I don't know what you mean. I mean, I think I know what you mean, but I don't know how to do it. Okay. So, okay. So we are here. So we have the first two only that are in theory kind of working. Okay. So the first two. Now I don't know if we start from 0 from 1. I have no idea. But if we click on this, and then we click on this, we say that we are editing the first button, right? And then we click on key bindings, and I associate it to shift 1, right? In theory now, he saved it as a dynamic key binding. So if I let's just close this. So if I click on dump NPC normally, it says syntax dump NPC blah 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 blah. Okay, but anyway, he executed the command, right? He's complaining because it's missing something, but who cares? Because we have the target, we have no target selected. Okay, if I do it now, no, it was better without target selected, so we were seeing something. Let me click this. Okay, it's giving no NPC found. So if I click this, it's saying no NPC found. Now, if I press Shift 1, it worked, boys! It worked. So I press Shift 1 and he executed the thingy. Oh my god. Green line on top of that. No, one second. I need a GG because this one was very nice. I need a GG. Where is my GG? Nice. So it worked. I'm very impressed. So if I go to the second one, vulnerable, right? And I edit it, and I set this one as I don't know, Control Y. Okay? And I press Control Y. It worked, but at the same time, he also crouched. Because control is already associated to crouch. I think it's fine. I mean, if you have, if you assign, it's like if I assign space, you know, if I assign space to this one, if I assign space to this, it will, and when I press space, it will execute the command plus it will jump. If I assign also this one to space, you know, then it will jump, it will dump the NPC, and yeah, it's doing 3 things with one command. But I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool, boys. Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good. I like it. I like it. No, it's not my voice. It's just no, it's just a GG. It's just a GG sound I found on the internet. GG! It sounds like my voice. I don't know. No, it's just random GG. I call it my GG, but actually it's not. Okay, we still have few minor issue. Like when I open this and I click like here, I don't see the key binding. Okay, so this is something that we should see. We are not loading the key binding, but yeah, but the majority is working okay. The majority is working okay, so I really like it. I think we did good progress, boys. I think I will close the stream here because we reached anyway, we reached a good goal. I will stream also tomorrow. I want to restart streaming at least in this weekend. So I will stream tomorrow. I think in the afternoon or in the evening. I don't know. For the US guys, obviously the afternoon will be a bit tough because I understand that Saturday morning, like 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. is not the best time for you to follow my stream. But I would say. But okay, so just to recap, I mean, we didn't finish our mission. By the way, let me just copy this thing so we put it as kind of an icon. Let me do this. Stamp, yeah. Paint, yeah. Let me copy paste this. Yeah. Crop. Okay, I just want to put it in our mission, just for fun. Okay, just for to have an icon. Okay, so our mission was change the quickbar to associate a key to a command. Wow, this line became way more than just that one line, you know. So you had so many sub bullets. In particular, we had to let's say add the key binding to edit quickbar, and this one we did. We had to call macro execution when pressing the specific key. Okay. Yeah, these are basically the two things that we did. Now we still have a few things to do in this area. We have to clean up. You know, we have to do the loading and saving. So we need to do the load. I think the save is already working, but I don't know. We have to check. Okay, we have to save to config the key bindings, but I think this is done already because we are saving the whole structure of macro. The whole structure of the quickbar is already saved, so I think this one is done, by the way. But we need to load the conf. Also, this one I think is already done. But we need to be, so we load the config, yes, but we don't associate the key bindings. So load the config, load the key bindings. Let me do one line. This line I think is done already. The second thing is that we need to create the key bindings after loading config. This one is not done for sure. Create. So I'm pretty sure this line, the load and save config, is done automatically because actually we just changed the structure and we saved the whole structure. So I think that one is fine. I think we miss. Yeah, so to call the mission completed, just to say, so we have this one we did. Oops, too small. This one we did. This one we did. This one is just to check, okay, that is working or not, but I think it is. And the last one we still need to do. When we do the last one, we can take off the first line. Then we will have to enable this, recognize the cast command, and then do the key press, the power channeling, and blah 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 blah. Okay? Yeah, but it's good. We did good progress, boys. We did good progress. Okay, with that said, I will close the stream. Thank you. I will really hope to see you tomorrow. I really want to stream tomorrow and continue this work. So hopefully see you tomorrow. And thanks for watching.